It's not about charcoal burning. Yes, the issue could have been charcoal burning in the ranch, but whereas you inform us about the 4,000 hectares under cultivation, you needed to, you should have updated us what befell the ranch, the initial purpose of the ranch. How many cows are we talking about in Aswa Ranch as we speak? Has the entire Aswa Ranch now been preserved for purposes of then on the matter of charcoal burning, are you sure 100%? Because what we needed to be sure about is that this man who does not allow even you to go and see, how sure are you that this charcoal burning is only specific for areas under construction? Madam Speaker, are we proceeding well when the minister is only talking about the 4,000, yet there is a very pertinent issue of failure to supervise, because the information is this man who is in charge does not allow others to supervise. Are we proceeding well, Madam Speaker?
Let me first get from Santa, you'll come because it was from you. Santa, you're going to speak. Let me first get from Solo.
Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank the Minister for her communication, but the clarification I wanted to raise, Right Honorable Speaker, if the Minister comes and tells us as Parliament that they were authorized to cut trees, Right Honorable Speaker, she has to tell us how they are going to do it and who shares what, because people have abused. Once you say that, go ahead, use the ranch, cultivate, in the process of cutting trees, burning charcoals, there is gross abuse of environment. That is one, Right Honorable Speaker. Then two, these are resources, and they are resources of government. Who is taking what? People are benefiting from things that they are not supposed to benefit. There is gross abuse, Right Honorable Speaker. So what I want the Honorable Minister to tell us, if it is a ranch, as it is, and they have authorized them to use the ranch for growing food for prisons, who is supposed to do what, who is supposed to take what, and in what quantities. You don't just say that we used this for burning charcoal and then the trees were cut down.
What the minister is saying, that government gave Uganda prisons land, and out of the land that was given to Uganda prisons, in the process of planting maize, they have to cut the trees, meaning it is approved process that go ahead, cut the trees for you to plant. But then the question Honorable Silwan is asking, just that he's not an accountant, he's asking, where does the NTR go? Because you're planting, you're burning this charcoal, the trees, in my imagination are many. You're selling off this charcoal. You said it was not for commercial, but what will you use that charcoal for if you're not selling? And if you sell it, how much do you get? How much do you declare to government as NTR? Finally, or court.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to ask the minister some few questions. People would recall, and the members of parliament would recall, that it was this very state minister who sometimes back wrote a letter, which is a directive banning all charcoal sellers and charcoal burners in northern Uganda. And the activity has been going on slowly, and it is already dying. Because of our directives, the president also came in and issued another strong directive banning all charcoal, tree cuttings and charcoal burning in northern Uganda for now. That is what we know. Now, if the same minister states that the prison people are allowed to cut these trees and burn them into charcoal and bury them when the people of northern Uganda are watching. What kind of example will these prison people show the people in northern Uganda? Is the law segregative? Is the law favoring the prison people and not the people of northern Uganda and the business community who sells charcoal? If it is happening, so if she says that they have allowed the prison people to clear the trees and burn them into charcoal, and they are not even paying taxes in the sub-county where they are cutting the trees, will she be right to show the country that the prison people can cut trees, sell charcoal, and the others don't do it? Because this is a very bad example to our people and a bad example to the directive of the president. For now, we feel and we think that nobody should be in charge of cutting those charcoal. I beg to submit.
And my presumption is in the 4,000 acres, there should be some swamps also. There should be some swamps. Are they allowed to plant rice also in those swamps? Now, let's first get a response. Dr. Musenero,
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. For clarity and for putting record proper, my name is Namanya Naboth.
Honorable Namanya Naboth of Rubabo and a very good friend to Doctor. Go ahead, go ahead.
Madam, right Honorable Speaker, I needed to get a clarification
take notes of what
from the Honorable Minister and to clarify to this House why she preferred that the bush and the trees that were cleared to be turned into charcoal, other than turning the trees and the bushes into fertilizer, which later the prisons will buy to enhance agriculture in the areas she has stated. I would presume that she should have made a clarification why the bushes and the logs were not buried to make the soils more fertile for agriculture other than making it for charcoal. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, as I laid here, the papers concerning the subdivision of the local forest of Wakiso district, that is Gunda Forest in Katavi Town Council. Right Honorable Speaker, and given that government has not yet given a response, it really promised to bring on this floor. Can I get to know from the minister through you to clarify whether it's not playing double standards when it's now talking about swamps and yet it's busy subdividing forests to the benefit of those few people, yet we are talking about conservation of the environment in this country.
Thank you. Thank you. Can we first have response to that? Let's first get the one of Gulu University. I know you're going to talk about the Gulu University. The forest of Gulu University. Yes.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I'm happy you talk about the Gulu University forest issue. Hopefully she'll be able to also clarify. But Right Honorable Speaker, I am sure the Honorable Minister is reporting what she could have been told by Uganda Prisons Force. But there is much more going on in Aswa Range. There are so many different groups who are operating in Aswa Range, and the local leadership of Pade and the region can never access the range, because when you try, you are beaten. There are security people who are busy in the range, and we do not know who is in charge. There are massive tree cuttings and charcoal burning going on. Not only, maybe the issue of Uganda prison is different, because I was part of the agriculture committee, and I know government is providing support to Uganda prison and the UPDF to do farming in Aswa Range. But there are many groups and there are massive tree cutting. The other thing, Right Honorable Speaker, you need to interest yourself. This parliament should have a special team to investigate matters of Aswa Ranch, because the question of land ownership is key. We know the ranch exists, but there is contention on the size of the land and the population of Pade. The people are always brutalized. A lot of destruction has taken place. Finally, Right Honorable Speaker, there are so many people who are now taking possession of the ranch. We need to know who they are. We are told there are others who have been given titles already, but there are so many people who are encroaching, who are entering the ranch, and as a people, we are concerned. So maybe the Honorable Minister is just responding to the question of Uganda prison, but there is much more, and I would plead with you that you intervene in this matter so we can have it resolved. Thank you.
Thank you. And can we first hear from the minister?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. And thank you, friends, for raising pertinent issues. This is a People's Parliament where we discuss what matters to us all.
Yeah.
Following.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
In the house here, we have honorable members of parliament. Yes.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, we are discussing a matter of environmental protection. And the Sustainable Development Goals emphasize sustainable use of environment. Recently, the President talked about banning charcoal burning. However, it is the prison services that are doing charcoal burning. But usually, procedurally, when the minister is requested to come and respond to an issue, she brings a good presentation and even lays a copy on table. I'm wondering whether we are proceeding well when the minister is responding to this issue that is very important casually without laying her presentation on table. And I kindly request that you ask her to lay the presentation on table, so that we discuss, because it has now taken us 30 minutes of discussing with something that is not very clear that she's presenting. Thank you, Right Honorable.
Honorable members, this issue was raised. I am actually the one who brought it up. Now there is this issue of charcoal burning. We need an explanation. After we've heard from what she's saying now, we'll request the minister to go to the locus. Want the minister to go to the locus, come with the documentary evidence, a certificate of what they gave Uganda prisons. We want a certificate of what they gave to Uganda prisons to own the 4,000 acres. We want who are the people, what Honorable Ojara raised, who are the people owning Aswa Ranch. So, Honorable Minister, after this brief response of yours, we want documentary evidence. And we want to know which other activities are taking place there. Because if it is a place where people do not reach, how do we know what is happening there?
Right Honorable Speaker, actually, as I was risen up, I was already going to allude to that. Indeed, I appreciate the response by Honorable Ojara, but I was quickly responding to what you had put for me to yesterday. Following what has already arisen, and of course, the surrounding issues, I think it's only proper that I stand here and say, I will go to the locus as you have directed and come back with a written report. And probably I will employ the area members of parliament to be also there while I go there. But I must put this on record.
Will they allow them there? Will they be safe?
I will liaison with them, Right Honorable Speaker, and see what happened. But I want to be on record as I sit down, Honorable members of parliament. what I presented was a bit broad in a perspective, but members have looked at the charcoal burning as it has been alluded. But the main activity, as I was given the information, was not what? Charcoal burning. And secondly, what has been burnt, what is in the executive directive, what I wrote in my letter. Right, Honorable Speaker, as we're all aware, we cannot totally ban out the use of charcoal for domestic use until we have an alternative for our people. So the intervention which is entailed in the presidential directive is that commercial charcoal burning, which has gone to the extent for export. Friends, this is a very serious thing. People were
You stand up. There is an order from somebody.
Right, Honorable Speaker, the Minister for Environment has just told us that charcoal burning cannot be totally, we cannot totally do away with it because we don't have an alternative. There is already a directive from the president. I mean, doing away with charcoal burning has been,
She's
it's
talking
a
about commercial. The directive is on commercial.
Right, Honorable Speaker. Right, Honorable Speaker. From some of our areas where we come from, charcoal burning has been totally disregarded. It's a crime. So I think we need to understand, is the minister in order to come to this floor of parliament and start really acting against the directive of the president, of the commander in chief, the head of state, you know? Right, Honorable Speaker, is she in order?
Honorable members. Honorable members. Honorable members. Why don't you applaud? Honorable members, you need to differentiate. Honorable Minister, what Goret is saying, in their area, in her constituency, they've told them total ban to charcoal burning. They cannot differentiate between commercial and subsistence. So that is where her issue is coming from. Now, if you don't differentiate, then you need to give us an alternative. You need to give us an alternative, and that's where her issue is coming from. Because you find the people who are burning there, it may not be on commercial. They want to use it. So that's what she's asking. We are going to finish 2 hours on this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I would like to thank you, first of all, for raising this matter of the ranch. And this matter of the ranch having its bearings on charcoal burning is just a small matter. Right Honorable Speaker, the first question is, why did the government introduce ranches in the first instance? Has the government decided to do away with ranches? What studies have they done to make sure that there is change of policy on having ranches in the country? Because by the time the government makes a decision, Madam Speaker, to give away the land for ranch into farming, that is a drastic change completely of policy. So we need to know on what basis did the government move? Which scientific study did they conduct? Was this emotionally done? Was this just politically driven? Why is it that you had to choose to do such an activity on a precious ranch? Because we have shortage of animals in the country. We are looking at improving the beef industry in the country. We need to export beef in the country. Now you are just turning into peasantry farming. What is this that you are doing? We need really the minister to come up with a holistic picture of the ranch. Madam Speaker, as I conclude on this point, it is extremely important that the country must have alternative energy policy. We must have energy policy. We have generated enough electricity. We are now even having dimmed energy. We cannot even take power. So why can't we have a macro master plan of having cheaper energy such that we save our forests and we save these rudimentary practices? How can we in this 21st century, the dot-com era, and we are talking about charcoal burning in the country? Really, this is something, Right Honorable Speaker, I would like to appreciate you. We need to go modern. We are using modern facilities. We need to support our Ugandans to improve their methods of energy such that they can be able to live in the modern world. That is what it means, moving the country to the middle income economy.
Tony.
Thank you.
Honorable members, we are sending Mama Mabira to come with a written report. We are sending her to come back with a written report that we shall debate. And when she's coming with that report, she should be able to give us the alternative to the charcoal. We need to go modern, as he says. Yes.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I thank you. And I think we should not lose this. The question on charcoal burning in Aswa Ranch. The presentation by the minister is wanting. Because first of all, Right Honorable Speaker, if you give prisons a piece of land to cultivate, definitely they will cut trees. And once those trees are cut, they can use it whether for burning charcoal or what, because they will need the space of the land for cultivation. So but Right Honorable Speaker, the question is, the problem is that a moment the door was open for prisons to cut trees for cultivation, all these other teams entered and started doing their own activities of charcoal burning, disregarding the executive orders by the president. And I think this is where we want the minister to come clearly. Who are the people, as raised by Honorable Ujara, who are the people operating in the ranch, cutting trees, and why, and yet there is order for no commercial charcoal burning? Honorable Minister, I think you need to differentiate the prisons and other illegal activities in the ranch. Thank you.
Dr. Chuti, Freddy, Bosco, I will give all of you time to talk when the minister brings the document. Okay? Honorable Minister, we want, okay. Daudi, you'll speak when she brings a document. We need the documentary evidence. Even Kathy, all of you will talk.
Much obliged, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, the interest in this matter is very obvious. And you can see the House is disappointed in both the statement and demeanor of the minister, because they betray.
Honorable Minister, can you listen to the
They betray her well-known intentions over generations, and we don't know why she's migrating. Two things, Right Honorable Speaker, I ask with your indulgence, she must report on. Last week on Tuesday, the honorable member from Wachiso, the woman MP for Wachiso, the Honorable Narima, raised the issue of Gunda for urbanization. Will you, together with your friend in the lands, report to the House who actually degazetted Uganda Forest Reserve? Because the power to degazette is the preserve of Parliament. Let me speak. The minister should report on Uganda Forest Reserve. Secondly, Namioya Forest Reserve in Mukono. Titles have been obtained by powerful politicians and military officers in this land. The minister should report on it. Who gave authority to the Gazette, Namioya? And should also report on the bearers of the parcelled lands there, because the titles are there. Without fear of contradiction, and without going back on your known commitment on the environment, report on the bearers of the land titles in Uganda and Namioya. I thank you, I don't speak.
And the status of Gulu University land. Gulu University. Yes. Mama Mabera, we want you to come. Mama Mabera, we want you to come with a report to that effect. And we need a documentary evidence.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, and I appreciate the Lobus submission. Right Honorable Speaker, the area, the locus you have sent me is under 2 ministries.
Yes.
We have Minister of Agriculture, which is basically involved in what most of the things are being raised by the honorable members of Parliament here. So won't it be
it's a multi-sectoral approach.
yes. That
The Minister of Agriculture,
yes.
the Minister of Water, Environment, yourself, the Minister of Lands that gave out the titles, all must report. And we also need to know what is your status on the protected species. And that is what Dr. Chut wanted to raise. What is the status on the protected species? And we are giving, how much time do you want? Wait.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Being a matter sectoral issue, we need to convene probably under the guidance of the Prime Minister, and then we come up with a joint report and we report. Maybe the Prime Minister can help and tell us what period of time that we can be able, because it is the office of the Prime Minister which will convene us all to this, which will coordinate us.
Prime Minister.
Right Honorable Speaker, I request for 3 weeks so that all the ministries can convene and they come up with one report. Thank you.
Honorable Prime Minister, are we saying that within the 3 weeks as of now, they will not be cutting trees, they will not be cultivating in the land which does not belong to them? Do we maintain the status quo or what? We need to understand.
Right Honorable Speaker, we need to reach that place because I exactly don't know what is going on. So it will be difficult to make a decision now without reaching that place. So I request that you allow.
Back to us. You will get back to the House after you've reached there.
Thank you.
Thank you. let's leave that. We'll sort it out when they report back. Chairperson of Defense wanted to ask for extension of time.
Right Honorable Speaker, the Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Control Bill is before my committee for processing. It was first read on the floor of Parliament on 23rd of May, after which you prorogued Parliament on 25th of May. That proroguing, together with change of leadership of the committee and membership, has affected the 45 days rule. I now want to move under Rule 218(2) to request for extension of time, Right Honorable Speaker, for us to be able to process the bill and present the report on the floor.
How much time do you require? Up to when?
Up to 19th.
Up to 19th of this month. 19th of which month? This July?
Of July, Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, the member knows what he's speaking about. He knows. Honorable members, the chairman of defense. Next time when the speaker is talking, you first sit. The chairman knows what he's saying. He wants a date of 19th. We'll give you the 19th. The House, let's give the chair 19th. That's what he wants. And then the report of narcotics will come back to the House. Those in favor stand the contrary nay. The ayes have it. 19th to want our reporting on the floor. Okay. Yes. On my communication. Honorable members, you want to speak on my communication? Listen. You sent very able and clear-headed members to represent you in the meeting. Do you want to amend what we brought? Robert, what do you want to add? That was, yes.
Thank you much, Honorable Speaker. I want to appreciate you for that initiative because really we have lost many lives. Honorable Speaker, and this August House, I want to bring it to your attention that the number of people who are getting permits are very many compared to the number of people who goes to driving schools. So there is a big challenge. People are on roads, they don't know what they are doing. Secondly,
honorable members, we discussed all of that. I even gave an example yesterday here that I know somebody who got a driving permit in 1 minute. Now, listen, we have in the next item, we have an item on road safety. Let's listen to the report of road safety, then we make amendments to their recommendations. Are we together? There's a report. Honorable members, we must finish early. We have a mass at 5. Okay. Let me first introduce my visitors. In the VIP gallery this afternoon, we have a delegation from Kasana Luero Diocese. We have Monsignor Francis Xavier Mpanga. Monsignor, you're welcome. He's a diocesan administrator. Most welcome. We have Father Joseph Kakoza Nyanzi. You're most welcome. He's a chairman organizing committee of Bishop's consecration. Then we have Father Pontiano Sonko. You're welcome. He's a Treasurer General of Kasana Luero Diocese. Then we have Mr. Musisi Erasmus Mugerwa. You're most welcome. He's the Chairman of Finance Committee, Kasana Luero Diocese. They are here represented by Honorable Robert Tekteloko. Robert is a very good Catholic and a very good leader. And Honorable Nabukenya Brenda. That one is Miss Parliament. She's a very nice girl. So Father, make sure that our members come back. Kindly join me in welcoming our visitors. Hey, I have Haji Kirumira. Haji Kirumira is here. Haji Kirumira here, Hassan. He's the Imam of Parliament and a very good, brilliant leader. You see him like this. And where is Sekabira James? Sekabira, your father, Sekabira is also there. Very good leader. You see, for us, when we're in this house, we don't mind about parties. We mind about our members. It's about members of Parliament, not where you belong. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming. Next item.
Item 3, motion for adoption of the report of the Committee on Physical Infrastructure on the status of road safety in Uganda.
Honorable members, the report has come timely, and I'm happy that you've all agreed to now respond to that report. Chair, can you present?
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. This is a report of the Committee on Physical Infrastructure on the status of road safety in Uganda. Right Honorable Speaker, first of all, allow me to thank the team that compiled this report, and in a special way, thank the former chairman and the former vice chair for their leadership in coming up with this report, and the entire team. Right Honorable Speaker, on 21st July 2022, the Minister of State for Works, Honorable Musa Echeru, presented to Parliament a statement on the status of road safety interventions in Uganda. The statement was consequently referred to the Committee on Physical Infrastructure for consideration and report to the House. Rule 187F and 189 of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament provide for the jurisdiction and mandate of the committee respectively to cover the sectors of lands, housing, urban development, physical planning, works and transport, and other departments. And the area of scope was to examine and comment on policy matters affecting the ministries covered by it, initiate or evaluate action programs of ministries and sectors and make appropriate recommendations on them. Monitor the performance of ministries, departments, and agencies, monitor government compliance with approved plans and programs, and monitor the progress on implementation of the sustainable development goals made by sectors that fall within its jurisdiction. The committee scrutinized the statement and now begs to report as follows. On the methodology, the committee scrutinized the ministerial statement on the status of road safety interventions in Uganda. 2, held meetings with the following stakeholders: A, ministries, departments, and agencies responsible for road safety, including Ministry of Internal Affairs, specifically the Directorate of Traffic, Ministry of Health, Uganda National Roads Authority, Uganda Railways Corporation, Kampala Capital City Authority, with representatives from Kampala Metropolitan Area. The committee also had meetings with the Minister of Works and Transport, Honorable General Katumba Edward Wamala, the Minister. The main purpose of the meetings was for the committee to get additional clarifications and substantiations concerning the subject matter. B, civil society organizations under the following umbrellas were also met the committee: the Road Safety Advocacy Coalition, 2, or Roman 2, Civil Society Coalition on Transport. Current road safety situation in Uganda, 2.0, that is at 2.0, and 2.1, statistics on road safety in Uganda. The committee established that the Uganda Police Force statistics indicate that over the last 5 years, approximately 10 or more Ugandans' lives have been lost on our roads daily, with the highest number being 12 deaths per day as recorded in 2021. An indicator that there has been a 13.5% increase from 3,663 fatalities in 2020 to 4,150 fatalities in 2021. And that in 2021 alone, 17,443 people were involved in road crashes. Roman 2, 60% to 70% of those affected in road crashes are young and economically active Ugandans. In 2028, the World Health Organization reported, in 2018, the World Health Organization reported that Uganda was losing 3 to 4% of its GDP annually, accruing from road crashes that have caused disability, adjusted lives, ill health, or added death of economically active Ugandans. This number is bound to have risen, considering that the number of Ugandan lives lost in road crashes has increased from 10 per day in 2018 to 12 per day in 2021. 2.2, the impact of road crashes on Uganda. The committee established that road crashes negatively impact on the country as follows. 1, economic and revenue loss. According to the Uganda Police Annual Crime Report of 2020, Uganda loses at least 10 people per day due to road crashes. This is more pronounced among pedestrians and motorcyclists as the most vulnerable category of road users. In 2021, the number of road crashes that increased by 42% and people killed increased by nearly 1,000 from 3,663 in 2020 to 4,159, according to Uganda Police Traffic Report of 2021. Globally, it was agreed to an ambitious target of reducing road deaths and serious injuries by 50% by the year 2030. This is in line with SDG 3.11, and Uganda is finalizing the National Road Safety Action Plan in line with the global target for decade of road safety. Further, the police annual traffic report also states that these crashes are avoidable on account of casual factors such as reckless driving, speeding, overloading, dangerous loading, driving under influence of alcohol, careless pedestrians, careless driving, passenger falls from vehicles, obstacles on carriageway, and dangerous mechanical condition vehicles, among others. Similarly, the first United Nations Road Safety Performance Review, which was conducted by the United Nations Economic Commissions for Europe and Africa, and was launched in Kampala on 28 February 2018, the number of road traffic fatalities reported in Uganda has increased sevenfold over the past 25 years, and 10 people die every day due to road traffic injuries. The review established that magnitude of the road safety challenge is serious, but has unfortunately in the past failed to attract the necessary attention for appropriate intervention. According to the report, unless effective interventions are implemented, road crashes are likely to increase and even double within the next 10 years. In the last decade alone, recorded road crash fatalities rose from 2,597 to 3,503 in 2016, representing a growth of 25.9%. The accident severity index of 24 people killed per 100 road crashes, the overall annual cost of road crashes is currently estimated at approximately 4.4 trillion, representing $1.2 billion, representing 5% of Uganda's gross domestic product. There is an ample evidence that road safety has not benefited from increased spending on the road sector of Uganda, where the sector has received about 18.7% of the national budget in recent years. Road safety allocation have remained at less than 1% of the transport budget. While Uganda's investment in its roads is worthy, as road transport accounts for over 90% of cargo freight and passenger movement and is principal driver of the country's economy, the transport sector contribution to Uganda's GDP was estimated at 2.8% in the financial year 2014-2015. Right, Honourable Speaker and members, it is alarming, however, that Uganda loses almost twice its transport sector's contribution to the GDP through road crashes, as are estimated to cost 5% of the country's GDP compared to her neighbors in the East African community. Uganda continues to report the highest number of fatalities annually. Right, Honourable Speaker and honourable colleagues, effects on the youth, that is Roman 2, page 5. The 2018 Global Status Report on Road Safety identifies road traffic injuries as the leading killer of children and young adults worldwide. According to the Uganda Police Annual Crime Report of 2020, more fatalities were recorded for persons below 35 years of age, and these accounted for 57% of all fatalities. This could partly be attributed to the fact that the highest proportion of Uganda's population is young. This bracket also includes school-going children. It also includes the youth who are actively engaged in various productive activities to earn a living. With the increased use of motorcycles, projections show that road traffic injuries will be the third leading cause of disability-adjusted life years attributed to ill health, disability, or early death. 3, pressure on the health sector.
Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, in the ongoing second decade of action for road safety, road traffic crashes pose a considerable threat, especially in low-income countries. Uganda shows vast burden of non-fatal injuries and resides at the top range of countries with the highest death rates due to unsafe roads. The public health system in Uganda is, on the other hand, is overwhelmed with victims of road traffic crashes. They are listed among the top 10 leading causes of hospital death in the country. In 2017, World Health Organization reported road injuries as the fourth leading cause of hospital death. Right Honorable Speaker, given the highest road crashes rate in Uganda, the country requires a robust emergency care system to address the high road injury burden. Unfortunately, post-crash care in Uganda is poor and underdeveloped. Although efforts are being made by government to set up a national ambulance service, the service has not yet been enrolled out on the main road corridors. As a result,
Yes, procedure matter.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, the report that the Honorable Chair is reading has been with us. We have been reading it. We slept over it, reading. Right Honorable Speaker, the procedure matter. Right Honorable Speaker, the procedure matter I'm raising. Wouldn't it be procedure, right?
Did you say you slept with the report?
Right Honorable Speaker, I repeat, I slept over it. I read the report overnight, Right Honorable Speaker. The procedure matter I'm therefore raising, wouldn't it be procedurally right for the Honorable Chair maiden report to be summarized? We go to the recommendations, Right Honorable Speaker, summarily, because I know the capacity of the new chair, he can do summary very well. So that we now go and discuss the report, Right Honorable Speaker, when he has summarized. That is the procedure matter I wanted to raise.
Is that seconded?
No.
Yes, Bosco.
I want to thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to request that this is a bit of a sticky issue. I would appeal that the chair goes through the report because we are comprehending, and so that we have a good debate on this report. Maybe he's given a timeline so that he manages it within that time. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
My chair. Jessica was my chairperson in presidential affairs.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. I'm of the view that we go to the findings, observations, and recommendations because we have the copy of the report shared. Thank you so much.
Honorable members, you see, when you hear the whole report, she reduces on the kind of questions that you'll be asking. And with the due respect, this is a very sticky issue. The issue of this report would rather handle only this one. And that is what I was telling you, this has kept us in Parliament from 8. Issue of accidents, it's about life. Solomon may be hurrying to go to Bugiri, but you can go tomorrow.
thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for the guidance and the ruling. I was on Roman 3, the pressure on the sector, and on the last paragraph of page 5. Given the high road crash rate in Uganda, the country requires a robust emergency care system to address the highest road injury burden. Unfortunately, post-crash care in Uganda is poor and undeveloped, although efforts are being made by the government to set up a national ambulance service. The service has not yet been rolled out on the main road corridors. As a result, management of crash scenes is poor, as transport of victims is commonly provided by police personnel using trucks designed for the other police duties. The victims are then delivered to health centers which lack emergency facilities and personnel. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, in addition, within the health sector, road injury prevention does not receive the appropriate attention it deserves, considering the huge number of road crashes that happen. According to Honorable Dr. Charles Ayume, on the magnitude of road traffic injuries reporting to public hospitals in Uganda and the cost of treatment, while Uganda has a comprehensive and expansive essential package of health services, government financing is lagging. The primary health care package is still funded mainly through donors at 42% and out-of-pocket payments at 41%, creating issues for both sustainability and equity. In addition, the total health expenditure as a percentage of GDP is only 1.3% against the target of 4%. In a financial year 2020-2021, and the financial year 2021-2022, the total health expenditure was at 1.9 and 2.1% of GDP respectively. Based on the GDP for financial year 2021 and 2022, the allocation for health sector for financial year 2022-2023 should have been Uganda shillings 6.4 trillion. On the contrary, the budget was 3.5 trillion, leaving an allocation gap of 2.9 trillion. These statistics reveal that Uganda still lags behind in realizing the universal health coverage financing targets, thus causing for health financing reforms while considering the limited fiscal space. 2.4, challenges in addressing road safety. The committee established a number of areas where the government is not adequately supporting and promoting road safety interventions in Uganda and highlighted them hereunder. 1, inadequate budget. Over the past 3 to 5 years, the Ministry of Works has been one of the highest funded ministries. However, the budget allocation has concentrated on infrastructure development and very little allocation has been made towards road safety. Road safety budget has continued to be classified as a consumptive budget and often been reallocated to cover any other gaps in the budget. The Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development argued that over the last 5 years, government has released 488,936 billion, but the Ministry of Works and Transport has only allocated 3.6 billion to directly fund road safety interventions. The Ministry of Finance also pointed out that the Ministry of Works is a beneficiary of United States dollars to 265,082, which comes to around 1 billion Uganda shillings, 1,033,899,800 to directly fund for Road Safety Trust Fund. It further highlighted the fact that over the last 5 years, government has released 44.496 billion to UNRWA for road safety interventions. The Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development further emphasized that it had released 48,127,014,255 towards road safety interventions and urged the ministry to focus on a more pragmatic approach in utilizing the available funds. The Ministry of Works, Transport and Communication, Works Transport, however, clarified that the road safety budget sent to UNRWA is meant to cover road safety interventions within UNRWA mandate. These include road safety audits and assessment on UNRWA projects, installation of road furniture, including road signs and signals, among others. In regard to the road safety grant, the Ministry of Works won a grant of United States dollars 250,000 from the Global Road Safety Facility in 2020 for capacity building in road safety research and monitoring and evaluation, but only 82,000 was released through United Nations Economic Commission for Africa. Recommendations. The committee therefore recommends that the government prioritizes allocation of sufficient resources toward the support of road safety initiatives. Lack of independent road safety audit. That is Roman 2. The Ministry of Works and Transport, UNRWA and KCCA are the leading agencies in relation to conducting road safety audits. However, this model is inadequate as it is bound to be construed as biased. Further, there is a need for government to take action to address road safety in a holistic manner. This requires involvement from multiple sectors such as transport, police, health sector, education, and actions that address the safety of roads, vehicles, and road users. The committee therefore recommends that the government commits to conducting regular and periodic road safety audits and road infrastructure assessment by an independent multidisciplinary team. This will go a long way in addressing various road safety challenges. 3, inadequate skills and manpower within the Uganda police to handle crash investigations. The Directorate of Traffic and Road Safety of the Uganda police is responsible for road safety investigations, yet very few technical personnel have been adequately skilled to execute the task. Many of the police personnel are assigned to handle matters related to road crashes are biased towards criminal actions at the expense of other areas that contribute to the road crashes. The inadequacy of Uganda police personnel to effectively identify and handle traffic-related offenses has not been abated by the practice of frequent transfers within the force, where the police personnel are periodically transferred despite the fact that they had benefited from a specialized training area of work. Excuse me. It was reported that the World Bank, through Bromberg Philanthropies, had conducted some training on road safety to a section of police officers who were later transferred to other areas of work within the police force. The committee therefore recommends that the government addresses the capacity constraints of the relevant institutions engaged in road safety management so that they can address the severe road clash challenges. In addition, the government's prioritization of road safety efforts should focus on the provision of technical assistance and financial and political commitment to optimize the benefits of the investment made in the development of the road transportation infrastructure. Right, Honorable Speaker and members, the other challenge is unregulated training schools, stroke institutions. There are a limited number of professionally trained drivers and riders on the Uganda roads. The committee recognizes that facilities for training drivers and riders are readily available on the market, but they remain inadequately supervised by relevant authorities, thereby offering different training methods and content. The matter is made worse by the high cost of driving, stroke riding classes that remain prohibitive for many drivers and riders who then opt to learn on the job. A 2020 baseline study revealed that out of the estimated 120,000 heavy commercial vehicle drivers in Uganda, 97.6% had trained through peers. Informally, 1.3% were trained in-house. 0.85% went through sales safety training, and only 0.25% underwent formal training. Out of those who had received specialized training, 68% got the training from Kenya, 22% from Tanzania, and only 10% from Uganda. The committee therefore recommends the Honorable Speaker and members recommends that in order to improve driving standards in the country, there is need for Inspectorate of Vehicles to streamline the activities and operations of the driving schools by monitoring content being taught, facilities used, and other effectiveness. Further, everyone acquiring driving permits or license should be trained by a driving school, because the driving schools are the ones with curriculum of driving from the government. Driver training and testing systems should also be improved. Right, Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, the other issue is ineffective road crash data management system. The road crash data management system in Uganda is poor and below general acceptable international standards. The road crash data system, collecting, analyzing, and usage are not well aligned. The road crash data systems project, which costs Uganda shillings 7 billion, equivalent of $2 million US, and had reached a 75% completion, but stalled as a result of cancellation of the transport sector development program. However, efforts by government to complete the project are yet to be materialize. The committee recommends that the government prioritize completion of the road crash data management system projects. Then, road safety actors. Road safety actor is a cross-cutting issue with a number of key government bodies and agencies being responsible for different aspects of the same. The main ministries that have a role to play in the road safety are Works, Transport, Internal Affairs, Local Government, Education and Health. The private sector and civil society are also key stakeholders who participate in the road safety. The Ministry of Works and Transport is the leading ministry responsible for road safety, which is operationalized through the National Road Safety Council, a statutory body under the Department of Transport Regulation and Safety. Other agencies of the ministry responsible for road safety are Transport Licensing Board, Uganda National Road Authority, and the Uganda Road Fund. Unfortunately, these MDAs do not coordinate and cooperation. They not coordinate and cooperate as they should. This negative impacts on the isolated efforts made by each of the concerned entities to improve on the road safety situation in the country. Considering the cross-cutting issues, the mandate of various MDAs impacting on road safety, it is imperative that the MDAs form a coalition to deal with the matter pertaining to road safety. This will go a long way to address issues of duplicity and streamline the specific role and responsibilities of each mandate. The committee therefore recommends and urges government to regularize interministerial working committees as a way of dealing with the cross-cutting issues. Right, Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, observations and recommendations, that is 4.0. One is that traffic and road safety regulations. The committee observed that whereas a total of 14 regulations have either been amended or formulated to operationalize the Traffic and Road Safety Act 1998. Further, the committee noted that the draft regulations were approved by the top management team on 11th August 2022 and will be submitted to the first Parliamentary Council, Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs for redrafting. The draft amendment regulations include the Traffic and Road Safety Express Penalty Scheme for Road Traffic Offenders, Amendment Regulation 2004, the Traffic and Road Safety, as you can read them from A to H, the Traffic and Road Safety Driving School and Driving Instructors Amendment Regulation 2010. The draft regulations that have been formulated include the Traffic and Road Safety demerit point system regulations, the traffic and road safety post-crash emergency, it goes from A to E. The committee recommends that government expedites the process of amending the existing traffic and road safety regulations and formulating regulations in order to ensure effective operationalization of the Traffic and Road Safety Act 1998. National road designs. Right, Honorable Speaker and members, the committee noted that according to Road Safety Performance Review, Uganda review of February 2018, many fatalities and serious injuries along the national road network are registered by the police as head-on collision crashes. The road corridors are risky, with several crash hotspots recognized by fleet operators that require remedial measures to improve road safety. Most of the national road network comprises two-way single carriageways with no median to separate opposing traffic flows, many with steep shoulder and with few opportunities for overtaking, resulting in many head-on collision. Most roads also lack facilities for non-motorized vehicles, motorized users. There is inadequate land use planning with numerous examples of unsafe access to the highway. Road safety engineering knowledge within the responsible government agencies at national, municipal or local level is very limited. There is no deliberate and systematic road safety engineering work, and road safety audits are not regularly undertaken. Road safety is often considered to be of second importance by those designing new road projects or those maintaining the roads. Hence, an urgent need for technical assistance in road safety aspects. The committee therefore recommends that government makes deliberate efforts towards regularly undertaking road safety audits in order to make qualitative estimates and reports on potential road safety issues and identify opportunities for improvement in safety for all road users. Explore adoption of multiple modal transport system. The committee observed that the transport system in Uganda is mainly focused on the road. There is a need to develop a bus rapid transport model and to expedite renovation and revamping the railway sector in Uganda. The aerodromes distributed in different parts of the country should also be renovated and air transport made affordable and encouraged within the country. Within the adoption of the multi-modal transport system, there will be a reduced number of vehicles on the road, and the majority of the population will use a mass transport, which will potentially be safer, cheaper, faster, reliable, and economically productive. The committee recommends that government fast-track development and operationalization of a bus rapid transport model. Transport of dangerous goods and periodic driver testing. The committee observed that in Uganda, transport of dangerous goods is not given the attention it deserves, and usually dangerous goods are transported just like any other goods. This is deterrent to other road users. There is no additional training that a driver transporting dangerous goods must undertake before being allowed to transport or deal and handle hazardous or dangerous goods. Currently, the national laws are silent on the requirements. For example, to transport dangerous goods, the truck driver is not required to have specialized training or license. With the development of the oil and gas industry in Uganda, the National Environment Management Authority, NEMA, started issuing licenses for transporting hazardous waste products. Drivers of dangerous goods possess the basic specialized driving permit. However, stakeholders in international fuel companies enforce international regulations on dangerous goods based on the United Nations Regulations on Movement of Dangerous Goods. The committee therefore recommends, Honorable Speaker and members, that government should come up with a policy that mandates drivers of large commercial vehicles to undertake comprehensive training that will equip them with knowledge and skill relating to the transporting fuel. the risks, dangers, and proper handling of fuel products. Road user behavior. Road Honorable Speaker and members, the committee observed that there is a severe road safety awareness backlog in the country. There is no sustainable evidence-based awareness program, and generally there are few awareness programs for road safety in the country. Road safety awareness is extremely low, with no sustainable public media campaign except during the annual Road Safety Week. In addition, children and youth safety programs are also limited despite the development of a national school road safety curriculum in 2004, which is yet to be implemented. The absence of such programs means that the future monitoring community will miss out on the strong road safety foundation, in addition to currently being unaware of proper use of the road at a young age. Honorable Speaker and colleagues, further, road safety education is essential when it comes to avoiding traffic accidents. A large number of traffic accidents occur due to carelessness of road users or the unawareness of the law. For that reason, it is important to educate children in that area. Research has shown that children who receive road safety education are less likely to suffer some types of accident, but will also become responsible and knowledgeable adults. They are bound to become good and careful drivers, pedestrians, cyclists, and passengers. The committee therefore recommends that the government fast-tracks the implementation of national schools road safety curriculum and also popularizes road safety awareness programs in the various media houses. Periodic inspection of motor vehicles. Honorable Speaker and members, the committee noted that some of the vehicles on Ugandan roads are not roadworthy and are more prone to causing road accidents and environmental pollution. The committee therefore recommends that the government ensures effective implementation of the Traffic and Road Safety Act 1999 and the Traffic and Road Regulation, Motor Vehicle Inspection Regulation 2016. In conclusion, therefore, Honorable Speaker and members, the committee appreciates the effort made by the various MDAs towards road safety interventions, although they still need a lot to be done, as aforementioned in the report. The committee takes cognizance of the inadequate financing towards road safety interventions, hence the need for governments to adequately fund this sector in order for it to effectively carry out its planned outputs. Further, government is urged to make a concerted effort towards processing the pending regulations that will operationalize the Traffic and Road Safety Amendment Act. I beg to submit. Right Honorable Speaker and members, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Honorable Emotion, Chair Infrastructure. You've heard, it's not any different from what I was telling you today. It's more of what we reported to you. Honorable Minister, you've heard. Yes, members. In the public gallery this afternoon, we have a delegation in the public gallery this afternoon, we have a delegation of private sector road safety practitioners led by Mr. Kisito Charles Nsubuga. They've come to follow the debate. Join me in welcoming them. You're welcome. Where are you? Thank you. Okay. We are going to limit the debate. And why are we limiting the debate? 1, Prime Minister's time. 2, this is what we discussed on your behalf. And I don't know whether why don't you learn to trust your leaders? I am just asking. You mean you've also lost trust in your leader of opposition who ably represented you? And I did represent the whole country. The whole government chief whip was there representing the prime minister. My arrow boy, the minister of works, was there. Arrow boy, you first did. Yeah. Let me give the arrow boy first to read again what we agreed. If it is any different. If it is any different from what we agreed. Can you first read to the House?
Right Honorable Right Honorable Speaker, in thanking the chair of the committee.
You know, he's in love with the prime minister, so he will always call prime minister.
I think we are RDCs at one time.
And they were together in Kasese.
Right Honorable Speaker, nothing happened. We just continued working for government. Right Honorable Speaker, let me again, for emphasis, read what you have already presented to this August House. On the 13th of July, 2023, the Speaker convened a meeting with the Minister of Works and Transport, the Executive Director, Uganda National Roads Authority, the Government Chief Whip, the Leader of Opposition, Uganda Police Force, and the Minister of Health. The meeting resolved as follows: for immediate interventions, enforcement of relevant laws and regulations. Whereas the Traffic and Road Safety Act 1998 has attendant regulations that have aided its operationalization. The Road Act 2019, which addresses various aspects of the road safety, does not have regulations. There is need for regulations to operationalize section 57, 58, and 59 on the towing of and auctioning of abandoned or broken down automobiles on carriageways. UNRA has immediately offered at least 8 tow vehicles to tow abandoned vehicles. The Minister of Works and Transport must expedite the development of regulations to operationalize the Road Act 2019. The Minister of Works undertook to table regulations operationalizing the Road Act 2019 within 1 month, that is by 13th August 2023. Then streamlining the motor vehicle registration function under the Ministry of Works and Transport, which requires additional Uganda shillings 40 billion. The Ministry of ICT and National Guidance and Uganda Communication Commission should ensure that immediate dissemination of pop-up messages on road safety to all mobile phone subscribers. Then replacing missing road furniture, such as road signs, reflectors, fences, etc. The exploring and use of appropriate alternative materials to minimize vandalism and theft. Conclusion of the memorandum of understanding between the public agencies responsible for transport and road safety and the private sector on towing the abandoned vehicles. Then sensitization and enforcement of motor third-party insurance. Whereas motor third-party insurance introduced by the Motor Vehicle Insurance Third-Party Risks Act of 1989 provides for compulsory insurance against third-party bodily risk in respect to the use of vehicles. Oftentimes, victims of accidents are not indemnified. There is need for more sensitization on motor third-party insurance. Right Honorable Speaker, increase public education and awareness on road safety in order to shape road user behavior. There is need for constant and consistent sensitization of the general public on road safety using all available mass media. The meeting was notified that out of the required budget of 20 billion for road safety, only 5 billion was released. There is therefore need for adequate resourcing of the road safety function across the relevant agencies. Uganda Police Force should scale up monitoring and enforce compliance within the right-of-way and use of lead cars, sirens, and LED lights on the automobiles. Those culpable of breaching should be prosecuted. Then responsible use of government vehicles. Honorable colleagues, government vehicles continue to be the highest perpetrators of traffic offenses, including road crashes. In 2022, over 500 government vehicles were involved in accidents. There is need for more responsible use of government vehicles backed by sanctions for misuse as prescribed in the Public Service Standing Orders. Honorable colleagues, compliance with speed limits. There is need for stringent enforcement of increased sensitization of road users. On compliance with speed limits. Honorable colleagues, there is urgent need to reintroduce the installation of speed governors in all vehicles to regulate speeding. UNRWA is directed to immediately remove roadside markets. We talked about remove or at least ensure that they are not on the road, and taxi parks that have encroached into roads and road reserves, for example, in Busega, Lukaya, Kireka, and Chaloajala. Local leaders should sensitize the masses on the need to comply with the road safety rules and regulations. The Minister of Finance, Planning, and Economic Development should increase the recruitment budget allocation to UNRWA, Minister of Works, the current budget for allocation on UNRWA, Minister of Works and Transport, and Uganda Police Force for immediate road safety interventions. For medium-term interventions, honorable colleagues, we talked about reintroduction of periodic mandatory vehicle inspection under the police. This requires adequate resourcing and equipping of the Uganda Police Force. We complied with Parliament to remove SGS completely. Adequate equipping of the relevant enforcement agencies with the relevant tools, including but not limited to numbers, equipment, and automobiles to aid the effective enforcement of the law, particularly the driver testing and training. There is need to reduce physical contact between enforcement personnel and drivers to minimize incidents of corruption. Government should invest in automatic number plate recognition cameras linked to ticketing and offenders' speed guns, strengthening road monitoring and surveillance for, amongst others, timely detection and removal of abandoned vehicles and carriageways, and reprimanding errant drivers and road users. UNRWA needs adequate resourcing for adequate equipment for communication and towing abandoned vehicles. Long-term interventions. Automation of regulatory and monitoring processes to minimize human contact and reduce incidents of corruption and influence peddling. Enforcement of budgetary provisions to the relevant agencies on the road safety value chain, and general strengthening of road safety monitoring and enforcement. Enforcement of the speed limits around blind and black spots, notably markets, schools, and other public facilities, including hospitals. Road design should match the growing population of people and vehicles and strategic development plans of the country. The Minister of Finance, Planning, and Economic Development should increase the development budget allocation to UNRWA, and Minister of Works and Transport and Uganda Police Force for road safety related interventions. Right, Honorable Speaker, this was what we had agreed, and I beg to present.
Thank you so much. And when we talk about removing the trucks on the roadside, it also includes those trucks that are parked for more than 30 minutes. That is as per section 58 of the Road Act. You have vehicles that are parked on the roadside, like in Kumi, Soroti, Bukedea, Lukaya, everywhere vehicles are parked on the roadside. Let's first adopt the resolution. Let's first adopt the resolution of today. Let's first adopt that resolution so that it becomes a parliamentary document. Honorable Lop, you want to amend the resolution? Yes.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I wanted to propose an amendment on the resolution talking about increasing sensitization on third-party insurance. The issue is not just on sensitization. We have an issue of commercial vehicles that move across the border and their third party is not valid. I had a similar incident over the weekend. 3 of my constituents were knocked down with a trailer on the Lira Kamdini Road. When they tried to contact the call number on that third-party insurance, they said the third-party insurance is only valid in Kenya, not valid in Uganda. And therefore, these commercial vehicles should have international third-party insurance. So I want to propose that that amendment be captured on that.
The third-party insurance should be East African. International, actually, should be international.
Second amendment proposing, studies show that where the emergency response is quick enough, you can be able to save up to 17% of the deaths. In this case, it will be about 3,000. We've talked about funding increasing for road safety intervention in Ministry of Works, Uganda Road Fund and the other entities, but we've not talked about Ministry of Health. We need to increase budgets for ambulances, budgets for blood collection, because we are just collecting 300,000 units, but we need 450,000 units. So I want to propose amendment that budgets also for emergency response should be increased. Thank you.
Yes. Amendment. Alan.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity. Right Honorable Speaker, I recommend that government should fully operationalize and implement the Road Fund Act. It is because
road safety.
As
We're first talking about road safety.
Madam Speaker, let me clarify on this, that this issue also talk about road safety, because when you rehabilitate and the road maintenance, in actual sense, you are talking about, you are working on road safety. So that's why I recommend that the government should operationalize and implement Road Fund Act in order also to sort out the issues of road safety. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Members, are you okay with that amendment? The first one was okay. The first one of Dr. on health was okay. The road fund, is that okay? Adopted, yes.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to propose the amendments on sensitization so that we can include also first aid. The people that don't die at the spot have a chance to survive, but the challenge is Ugandans don't know what to do. They just look on. So if we are given airtime, we should also include first aid on sensitization. Secondly, I will also propose on the amendment that the road design.
Honorable members, let's bring credible amendments. Let's not dilute what is already there. Okay.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to bring an amendment. There is a silent parastatal we are not putting into consideration here. This is the UNBS. Madam Speaker, when you check the quality of tires we are having on market, some of them are carrying expired dates. Madam Speaker,
honorable members, actually one of the submission from police was that the quality of the tires that are brought in the country is too poor, that we should actually check the body that checks those tires. the National Bureau of what? Standards. We should be able to check. If you went and bought, I bought a tire in one day, it burst. One day. So we need to check the quality of the tires and the companies that are importing those tires.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much. And Madam Speaker, most of the tires we are having in the country cannot withstand the temperatures here. They are supposed to be driven in cold countries, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, when you look at the quality of the spare parts we are having, Madam Speaker, when you go to the market, you can need one spare part with different prices. One is coming from Taiwan, Tanzania, India, Japan, with different prices. Madam Speaker, most of the accidents are happening simply because—
Message has been taken. We are going to make amendment to that effect in terms of the quality regulating body. Yes. Amendments for all of you. Yes. Start from.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to bring an amendment of licensing the mechanics. These are the people who work on the broken cars. But because they are not trained, they do not fix the cars in the manner that is fit for the road. I'll bring you an example of the electricity people, the technicians, who are licensed by error. I would appeal that we amend the act that we license the garages and the mechanics who do the work. Thank you.
Honorable members, you've heard the amendment. Which body will be responsible for the licensing?
Minister of Works.
Minister of Works. By the way, honorable members, he has a point. He has a very valid point. You'll go to a mechanic because you're looking at him or her as cheap. And then they fix something wrongly in your car. Before you reach Camden, you've already gotten an accident because of poor fixing. So most of these people should be licensed. And that would require that we make an amendment in the Road Act and the Road Safety Act. Yes. Tony?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, on the use of television for sensitization and awareness creation, I would want to amend that we include providing special training over the television on road safety so that it is much clearer than they're saying drive properly.
But you see people who are well versed with this. If you get I'm looking at somebody who is from that sector, like Solo. You know, they can bring for you cartoons. When you're driving at 40 kilometers per hour, what happens? 60, 100, 120, you get an accident. At the end of the day, it ends up with a corpse, a coffin. You get it? Eh? Those are things that people understand better than talking.
Right, Honorable Speaker, that is true. But as you know, sometimes you have questions on how people get trained in the training schools on driving. So that all those processes must be included in the advertisement and promotion and awareness creation. And Right Honorable Speaker, another one is that I think we should include through the Ministry of Education in the curriculum of schools at all levels, whether from primary, secondary, and university and tertiary institution, because major causes of these crashes is because of human behavior, bad attitude, and inconsiderate use of the road. So I think we should include this in curriculum so that people grow up knowing, respecting, and understanding. This is why even most of the efforts by government is being ignored, because the attitude built in the mind of people on road safety is already bad. So I think through the ministry, this must come in as a long-term process of changing the mind, understanding, and respecting lives on the roads. Right, Honorable Speaker.
Gender, mindset change. That's the same thing, discipline.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I would like to make an observation that will lead me to amending the recommendations. And this is about the traffic enforcement and discretion on options for handling the mentally ill persons. The mentally ill persons on the streets and roads, Madam Speaker, are a traffic challenge. In Kajansi just 2 days ago, one mad woman started smashing people's cars, but the traffic continued to wave their hands for traffic to go. And this mad woman was on rampage all over the place. And they don't seem to want to even address that kind of matter, and we have found them a lot. So, Madam Speaker, these mad people, whether they are mentally ill or they are drug addicts, vandalize cars, they fight road users, they disrupt, and they stampede traffic. Madam Speaker, can the police, especially the traffic police, understand that the mentally ill persons on the roads are a road challenge or a traffic challenge? And then they take options like hospitalizing them or arresting them. Those who may not be very aggressive can be informally handled, but something needs to come to the recommendations on how to manage the mentally ill people on the road. Madam Speaker, we equally need more of the psychiatric services
I
at the
am
health
not
facilities.
sure whether that's a mandate of the traffic police, but the Prime Minister is going to come and address it in her responses. It is in one of the questions. We are now looking at the amendment on what was resolved.
Why, Madam Speaker, wouldn't they coordinate with the respective entities for this? Because it ends up with them, because when it becomes a traffic challenge, it just requires some address from them. And accidents, they have caused accidents. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Okay. Tom.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. My recommendation is that in addition to training, we include theory tests. I possess 2 driving permits. I got one from California and I know what I went through. You were given 36 questions, and the moment you even pass 29, not 30, you can't be allowed to go for practical tests. So I suggest that in addition for the training, which is also not adequate, we include theory tests before someone gets a license.
Thank you. But I thought they are theory tests. Honorable members, you know, the other day I was talking about people who get driving permits from back door. Anyway, they are theory tests. They are theory tests. Anybody giving anything outside.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I plead that we add one recommendation that the Minister of Works expedites and engages the local governments to gazette areas for parking of trailers. Like you have observed the case in Kumi municipality, where trailers are along the road day and night. And so many people have already
gazette the place for trailers.
Thank you.
Agnes.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. We would like also to add on issues of borders. They did not classify the numbers, but I know the biggest number of accidents are caused by borders. So maybe the minister should add on that recommendation. But my second issue, although
what about borders?
To be streamlined and creating stages for them. Like now, even here, they park at the palace.
What we found out was that police had started the issue of regulating and testing border borders, and they were moving from one region to the other. They have been in Masindi, now they're in Gulu, they are moving to another area. That's why we did not put it in.
Speaker information. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. My second issue is to do with the third party, although Honorable Member mentioned about the foreign cars. But locally here, we don't know where does that money go. Even when you get an accident or you lose somebody, you can never access that money. The conditions are very complicated that most people just give up. Thank you.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, the recommendation I want to be captured. The committee already observed that the rates are high for driving permits, especially for the border riders. It is 500,000. Right Honorable Speaker, this is one of the area that is actually failing these people to go through the formal trainings and get their driving permits. I therefore propose.
We actually are going to increase so that we limit the number. Next.
Yeah. Thank you very
Madam
much.
Speaker.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Mine is an addition on to a recommendation which was proposing a interministerial coordination. One of the areas to coordinate is to see how we can use the camera system, the investments which we have made in the camera system for police, and do any other additions so that it can serve not only security related issues, but support others so that the budget is a little bit cushioned. More, it can also be used for raising funds. All those who have problems, you can use it for raising revenue. So let's look
that
at
one is already included in the automatic, yes, motion.
Yes, sir.
Right Honorable Speaker.
You are the ones who made these rules. And when you made the rules, once a motion comes in, you can't do much. Yes, a motion.
Yeah, Right Honorable Speaker. We appreciate very much the leadership you have provided to ensure that we get to this point where the country has to be rescued. I therefore now move a motion that the House adopts the resolutions with amendments and the report read by the chairperson of Infrastructure Committee. I beg to move.
Seconded? Yeah. Seconded by Moma, Omara, Solo, by Silwani. Honorable members, by Doko, by Finance, by Ayo, by James, by Matt. Honorable members, you sent us to have this meeting. We simplified things for you. Honorable members, first of all, I am putting a question that we adopt the resolutions of the report of the committee that sat as a parliamentary document with amendments. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it. The resolutions that we passed, that we agreed that we should be making a referral to after every 1 month, that we should be reviewing, are now a parliamentary document with amendments. I now put a question that the report of the Committee of Fiscal Infrastructure on the status of the road safety in Uganda be adopted by this House. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it. Thank you so much, Honorable Chair, and pursuant to Rule 1220 of the Rules of Procedure, we'll expect an action taken plan. You need to continue updating this house on what you've done, how far you've gone, and most importantly, for the law to be effective, we need regulations in place. We cannot pass a law in 2018. To date, there is no regulation.
Right Honorable Speaker, I commit to undertake that and also commit to this House that will share this resolution with the other sectors that are critical in its implementation so that they also undertake what their responsibilities should be and continue to update this House on how we are progressing.
Thank you. Just a kind of reminder that we have a mass at 5. Yes, right. We have a mass at 5. Next item.
Item 4, motion for resolution of Parliament urging government to prioritize interventions to address the challenges of mycotoxin contamination.
Can we move that to Tuesday? We have Monsignor seated down there waiting. You've seen the choir also. The church is ready, so we go straight to Prime Minister's time.
Item 7, Prime Minister's time. Okay.
She will give us a business for the succeeding week and then go straight to Prime Minister's time.
Item 6, statement by the Right Honorable Prime Minister on government business for the succeeding week, 18th to 20th July, 2023.
Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues. Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity. Right Honorable Speaker, I remember very well in your opening remarks for this session at Kololo, you clearly indicated it that government in the last session was meant to, I have an iPad. Government in the last session was meant to present 57 bills, and it ended up presenting only 17. In the statement which the Right Honorable Prime Minister made last week, she clearly indicated that in this week she was meant to present a bill entitled Explosive Bill. And by today, she has not presented it. Is she in order to go ahead to present another business for the succeeding week without completing and explaining or apologizing to this Parliament as to why she failed to present that bill? Is she in order?
Order.
Honorable members, now I can see we are debating in anticipation. Why don't we hear from the Prime Minister? And the process of making bills is not a one-day process. It's not a one-day process. You'll find maybe the bill has been put is in my office, and it is me who has not brought to the house. So
Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, in the interest of time, I will not say anything.
No, I've already responded on your behalf.
Yes, because members sometimes look for recognition. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, I move under Rule 28 of our Rules of Procedure to submit business for the succeeding week of this year on 18th to 20th July 2023. Honorable Speaker, the laying of papers or laying of acts and bills of East African Assembly as required by Article 65 of the Treaty for Establishment of ESC and Rule 36 of the Rules of Parliament of Uganda. Number 2, a statement by the Minister of Energy on the deemed energy as guided by the Speaker that cannot be evacuated from the generation point. A statement by the Minister of Internal Affairs on the status of change of passports and introduction of international East African passports. Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to submit.
Please do.
Item 7, Prime Minister's time.
Right Honorable Speaker, there were many questions asked, but some of them, most of them were on road safety. And I can see we have made a resolution here. Should I waste?
That you'll be repetitive.
Yes. So question number 1 was from Kara Kevin. Number 1 was from Honorable Zijan David, and he was raising a matter of concern by that government has failed to deploy sign language interpreters in courts of law to assist persons with hearing impairments. His prayer is that can I update the House on the matter? Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, the Persons with Disabilities Act 2020, Section 15A provides for deployment, training, and use of sign language and tactile sign language interpreters in all public institutions, and this includes courts of law. The revised national policy on persons with disabilities 2023 under priority area 2/2 of the strategies and actions enhancement of communication in different formats is emphasized, and sign language is explicitly mentioned. Judiciary has got 1 sign language interpreter deployed at Uganda Road Court, Kampala. The sign language interpreter was recruited purposely to assist persons with hearing impairments. Since the cases involving persons with hearing impairments are very few, the sign language interpreter is facilitated to go to any other court where there are such cases to assist as required, and there are no complaints. Apart from sign language interpreters, the judiciary employs more than 348 court interpreters who are deployed in various courts across the country to assist interpretation of court proceedings. For example, the Family Division, Buganda Road Court, Mityana Chief Magistrates Court, Mbarara High Court, Koboko Chief Magistrates Court, Moyo Chief Magistrates Court, Kasese Chief Magistrates Court, etc. Number 2, the Honorable Kara Kevin, District Woman Representative Parisa, raised a concern on the heavy downpour on Thursday, 28th April 2022 in Parisa district that led to floods that washed away Kaboroi, Ometai, and Otutu bridges that link Parisa to Ngora district. she asked a question that can the Prime Minister inform the House on interventions instituted by government to remedy the situation. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, government through Ministry of Works and Transport on 4th August 2022 provided Parisa district with 32 meters of length and 2.1 meters of diameter metal culverts and 40 pieces of gabion boxes, 2 by 1 by 1. That is 2 meters wide, 1 meter deep, and 1 meter width. The ministry also advised the district to write to Uganda Road Fund for emergency funding to allow maintenance works on Kaboroi Bridge. The ministry on 26 April this year held a meeting with the honorable members of parliament for Gogonyo and Chivale counties after the temporary intervention by the district. As a result, on 4th May this year, the ministry inspected Kaboroi Bridge with a view of carrying out major works to restore connectivity. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, the ministry undertook to install the metal culverts to restore connectivity. The provision of 40 million Uganda shillings was made in Q4 in the financial year 2022-2023 under project number 1558 for intervention, particularly installation of culverts as a means of restoring connectivity. These works are expected to commence in July this year. Honorable Speaker and colleagues, this financial year government has prioritized the rural bridges under infrastructure development to enable the ministry reconstruct dilapidated bridges, construct new bridges that are currently timber made, temporary bridges on the district, urban, and community access roads network across the country that are estimated to be 1,636 bridges. The Honorable Muserule Shati na yebale kutesa, Member of Parliament Mawogola.
Yes, procedure.
Madam Speaker, I'd like to thank you for your wise ruling that the Prime Minister may not repeat responses on road safety. However, Madam Speaker, wouldn't it be procedurally right for the Prime Minister just to mention the names of the members who raised the matters so that it goes on record?
That's why she's mentioning Musharure. Because she's not going to read the response, she's just mentioning Musharure.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Okay.
Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, the Honorable Muserure raised the matter concerning the need for government to stress its commitment to road safety through implementation of the existing rules and regulations. And her prayer was like she wanted me to update the House on the timelines for approval of traffic and road safety regulations. Right Honorable Speaker, there are a number of regulations I had highlighted, and members have them on their iPads. I request, and the answers are almost similar to what we have just resolved on. And so I request that you allow me go to another question. The Honorable Ayume Charles, Member of Parliament Koboko. It was like there is a high number of road traffic injuries reporting to public hospitals in Uganda and increasing cost of treatment. And his prayer was, can government update the House on the intervention to reduce road carnage? It's almost the same. And so I feel the answers I gave are almost similar to what we discussed with the speaker this morning. And so I request that you allow me to go to another question because the answers are almost the same. Members can read through their iPads because we have uploaded this. Number 5 is Honorable Katusabe Atkins, Bukonjo West Kasese District. He says he raised a matter of concern that the floods that ravaged parts of Kasese District, submerging houses and sweeping away bridges, and the threat of resultant crack on a massive rock. His prayer was, can the Prime Minister give a status update and interventions made? That Honorable Speaker and colleagues, government is aware of the floods that ravaged parts of Kasese, submerging houses and sweeping away bridges, and the threat of the resultant crack on a massive rock. Through the Ministry of Works, Transport, and the Uganda National Roads Authority, government undertook short-term, medium, and long-term interventions in Kasese. Short-term actions, the ministry has to date constructed 3 cable foot bridges, that is the Chavayenze cable foot bridge in the river of Rubihira, Mihan Karichedi cable foot bridge, and Ruboni Chamboho cable foot bridge. Further, the ministry is doing the protection of river Nyamugasani eroded banks using force on account. In addition, the ministry rehabilitated Mubuku Karushandara Prison Road, that is measuring 12 kilometers out of 22.4 kilometers affected by floods. The Ministry of Works and Transport also extended additional support in form of metal culverts and equipment to Kasese District Local Government to enable it reinstate the damaged infrastructure. The clearing of flood debris in the affected roads, repair of damaged bridges, protection works, and desilting of blocked drainage structures has been done. In terms of the medium and long-term actions, the Ministry of Works and Transport designed and is constructing Charujumba Bridge connecting Charumba and Kisinga sub-counties. The structures consider the climate effects already experienced in the region. Honorable Speaker and colleagues, government through UNRA is constructing a number of bridges that are climate resilient, including Nyamugasani Bridge, that is on the lower part, on Rwentale Katwe Katojo Road, Kanya Bridge on Mubuku Maliba Chanya Ibanda Road, Isango Bridge on Wera Chitoma Kiraro Road, Rwembio and Kajwenge bridges on Kinyamaseke Kisinga Charumba Kibirizi Road, Kinyampara Bridge on Kinyamaseke Kisinga Charumba Kibirizi Road, all of which are ongoing. Number 6, the Honorable Wire Nadeva, Member of Parliament, Buramoji, County. He raised the matter concerning the disruption in the movement of goods and services caused by flooding of Naigombwa swamp that connects Kaliro and Namtumba districts. His prayer is that, can I update the House on the interventions made? The Minister of Works and Transport, Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, on 10th February this year, inspected Naigombwa swamp crossing, prepared a plan for a permanent intervention. At the moment, a temporary intervention has been planned for implementation in this quarter, that is 2023-2024, to restore connectivity and movement of goods and services. Government is planning for a more durable permanent intervention. The Honorable Zijang David came up with another question in addition to the other one. He raises a matter of national concern on the failure to compensate the standard gauge railway project affected persons in Magamaga, Rwandago, Kakira, Wairaka, Wanyange, Bogembe, and the resultant disruption in operations of the health facilities, education institutions, and economic activities in the affected areas, and the need for an explanation on what was delaying the implementation of the SGR project, the expeditious compensation of the project affected persons, and revisiting of the compulsory acquisition policy prior to payment. His prayer is, can the Prime Minister update the House on the matter concerning the status of the project affected persons? Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, government commenced compensation of project affected persons in the year 2016, and the total estimated cost was 584 billion Uganda shillings. To date, as at July 2023, after a period of 7 years, out of Uganda shillings 292.425 billion, perhaps approved reports by the government chief valuer, only 109.38 billion have been paid. The project is currently reassessing the project affected persons from Jinja to Kampala who had been assessed in the year 2016, but could not be paid with the funds available at the time. Number 8, the Honorable Achayo Juliet, Member of Parliament in Ngora County, Ngora District. That there is need to operationalize Maritime Act that was passed in the 10th Parliament. However, government has not presented the regulations to Parliament to operationalize this act. Can the Prime Minister update the House on the measures being taken to improve road and maritime safety, and also inform the House when government is planning to lay the regulations under the Maritime Act? Honorable Speaker, I request that I answer this because it involves water transport. My response, Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, is that the Inland Water Transport Act of 2021 is now in force. Draft regulations for improving safety have been prepared and submitted to the Solicitor General for review and guidance. Honorable Speaker and colleagues, government has also undertaken the following measures to improve road and maritime safety. Sensitization, this has already been taken care of. The Ministry of Works and Transport prepared a search and rescue plan, which is being implemented. This plan highlights responsibilities of relevant stakeholders on activities they should plan and implement during incidents on the water bodies. Inspection, regulation, and licensing are continuous activities conducted to weed out unworthy vessels. Weather forecast systems have been procured and deployed. Currently, modalities of disseminating information are ongoing between the Ministry of Works and Transport and the Ministry of Water and Environment. Increased enforcement in collaboration with security forces is ongoing, especially after signing operational memorandum of understanding, that is MOU, with security bodies with maritime presence on water bodies. Regular boat patrols by Uganda Police Force are conducted. Honorable Speaker and colleagues, the Ministry of Works and Transport is procuring 9 rescue boats to strengthen enforcement of safety and save lives of water users in distress. The Ministry of Works and Transport has procured and issued 2,400 life jackets at various landing sites. Honorable Speaker and colleagues, the Ministry of Works and Transport procured 1 ambulance boat with ICU facilities to help transportation of the critical patients to the nearest hospital facilities. Currently, crew recruitment is ongoing and the vessel expected to start operation by end of July this year. Honorable Speaker, the Ministry of Works and Transport has established a 24/7 call center on toll-free code 110 from any telecom services to assist water users in distress to get help. In collaboration with Uganda Communication Commission, vessels are being issued call signs and maritime mobile service identities numbers for international identification during registration. This for purpose of search and rescue in case of an incident. Construction of search and rescue centers in Masese, Kazi, Panyimul, Kaiso, Zengebe landing sites are ongoing. The construction of maritime rescue coordination centers at Mwanza is ongoing. MRCC Entebbe construction works expected to commence in August this year. Question number 9.
Right, Honorable Speaker, we do appreciate the responses of the Prime Minister, but considering the time, Right, Honorable Speaker, I think she can bring those other answers in the next week because, Right, Honorable Speaker, I think, leave me to submit. Right, Honorable Speaker. Right, Honorable Speaker, we do appreciate the submission of the Prime Minister, but considering the time, isn't it procedurally right for the Right Honorable Speaker to bring those answers next week? Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
The Prime Minister says she has only one question. If she could finish.
Right, Honorable Speaker and colleagues, this question comes from the Honorable Betty Naruima. the woman MP of Wakiso, but now that you say the mass is at 5, I don't know whether it was urgent or not, the one of Chitezi. And it has a number of pages. Maybe I beg your indulgence, Right Honorable Speaker, maybe the leader of opposition can maybe answer this, because this question is long. The answers are long. They have almost 5 pages. So I would read these answers next week. Maybe the member can also go through the iPad, because I've
Please, it is on the iPad. You can go through it. But thank you for answering.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Much obliged, Right Honorable Speaker. I will use fewer minutes since a lot has been dealt with in the previous debates. The only concern on the question number 1 from the Honorable Zijan relating to a single sign language interpreter in the courts of law, Right Honorable Speaker. I would like to appreciate the Prime Minister for supplying a honest response, namely that there's a single person from Zombo to Kisoro. So if anywhere in between Zombo and Kisoro, there's a court sitting requiring an interpreter, we'll have to make an adjournment until somebody travels to Kabong, to Masaka, to Nakasongola. We now know the causes of the huge case backlogs in our courts. Not only Prime Minister, you needed to give the member hope. And as Prime Minister, take a note and inform the Minister of Justice that there is a problem in the judiciary. A single person is not acceptable. It only happens in Uganda. When that person is sick, is indisposed, in one way or another, the court is at standstill. I hope you take good note, Right on the Prime Minister. Yes, that's what a Prime Minister should tell the country and give people hope. Right on the Speaker. A decent Prime Minister will give hope.
The Prime Minister is going to have that corrected and inform the Minister of Constitution.
Yes, should really admit to the inadequacy and make commitment to make amends. Otherwise, it's not acceptable. On questioning, the question relating to road safety, a lot of responses have been given, and I was part of the meeting in the morning, and I concur. The only gap in the promises made so far, recorded in a statement by the Minister of Works, if you're going to use UCC to communicate using the telecoms and social media, the Prime Minister should commit to freeing social media platforms blocked by government. Road safety and democracy walk in the same lane. So if you're going to use to invoke telecoms to operate and communicate, the drivers are younger people on social media, not the old people at home. So you need to really open up social media and communicate. The other bit, Right Honorable Speaker, that didn't come out well, even from our records, is that probably the hospitals on the highways needs to really be facilitated. There's a huge problem. The response, to be able to respond to emergencies. I have been visiting the countryside. The ambulances are really stony age, that are functional, are few in long distances. So emergency rescue has a very huge void that the Prime Minister should have made a commitment. I hope she picks it and makes good. And making good would mean commitment in the next mid-term expenditure framework to commit to financing, to selectively choose these hospitals on the highways. In Ruwero, we were informed that they bring emergencies as far as Nakasongola to Ruwero.
and they are incapable of dealing with them. So the beauty is that the Minister of Health is around, probably her network of ambulances in the pipeline could come to your able rescue. The question of question number 5 by the Honorable Katushabe Atkins relating to the emergencies and the other emergencies raised by members. Right, Honorable Speaker, it's both a challenge the Prime Minister should respond to as leader of government business, and the Parliament too charged activating the provisions of Article 157 of the Constitution, activating the contingencies fund. You cannot find money in the Prime Minister's office to attend to emergencies all the time. And because local governments have been disempowered, they can't deal with the emergencies. They have to track the Prime Minister's office, make reports. The Prime Minister is away. Nobody can take a decision until Majegere comes and takes a decision. You cannot restrict a country with that red tape. So can we operationalize the contingencies fund? After all, in the PFMA, it does not expire. It only grows. If you did that for 5 years, you'd have a huge provision for the contingencies fund. Right, Honorable Speaker, I want to invite Parliament in the next budget cycle to insist that this article is activated. We have the budget committee, they should take a note. I'll stop really begging the Prime Minister to make available kaunga, to make available beans, to make available very, very basic things which should be at the hands of the local government. So, Honorable Speaker. Question number 7, Honorable Speaker, again by the Honorable Vijani, relating to compensation of PAPs. This question streams through so many districts and local governments over many government projects. One of the culprits is UNRA, Honorable Minister for Works. Wherever I have been, I have received community complaints about non-compensation in violation of Article 26 of the Constitution. It is very clear, prompt, adequate, and prior. So you acquire prior, and then you start making people beg you to pay. It's a violation, and I've encouraged people to take government to court for that violation. Wherever I have been, I have told people, I'm even willing to offer pro bono to take you to court for delayed compensation. UNRA is a culprit. So, Right Honorable Prime Minister, your answer is very good. It is unconstitutional. You are supposed to compensate first, not make people beg you to pay. So next time you should inform us the basis of your answers, whether you have any provision of law, or you really are very, very weak at enforcing the law. The Constitution is very clear, prior, adequate compensation. And adequate is not the same as enough. In Uvuma, for 5 years, Honorable Speaker, people's land was taken to grow palm trees. They're not growing food. They have not got any money. They are desperate and destitute. And other places. For 5 years, you leave your land, your house is raised down, no money comes. They are all over the place. They have an able Prime Minister. Majegere, go to the islands and see the trouble you have caused, visited to the people of Uganda for lack of payment. Can you imagine 5 years, the only Chibanja not pay compensated?
But we are the ones who give the money. Let's give the money for payment.
Right, Honorable Speaker, if the money is not available, people should stay in the Abibanja. It is as simple as that.
Let's give money as Parliament and we have the money paid.
I concur.
Because I believe the Prime Minister is not going to get money from her pocket to pay.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I concur 100%. And that's why there's an entity calling itself a government. Where there's an outfit calling itself a government and it has no money, it has no business telling people to leave their land. As simple as that. They continue growing their food. When they are ready, they surrender their land. And I have no problem with the prime minister, but it's a good lesson to pick. That's how governments are run, right, Honorable Prime Minister. I thank you, right, Honorable Speaker.
We must work together for the good of the people. Opposition checks what is happening and we must work together. And it is this house that approves whatever money. And if we don't approve money for payment of compensation for PAPs, it is Parliament that has failed.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I concur 100%.
And I want to see that in the next budget, we have money for PAPs and we see how it fails.
Right, Honorable Speaker, if any of the ministers concerned presents their MPSs, they are not unfunded priorities. Because I follow all entities and I know these are not unfunded priorities, meaning that they dozed on job. So it's up to them. The speaker is not going to put money for you in the budget if you do not bring it in the MPS. As simple as that.
Honorable members, make a follow-up that the money is put on the budget by different entities, and this house will do its work.
I congratulate the speaker.
It's not a personal.
On the other issues I would have raised, I hold my fire for the prime minister. I'll be here next week for her. Thank you.
That's how. Honorable members, I adjourn the house to 2 on Tuesday.
Kamutai, you know what?